Thank you very much, Hassan. And do stay with us because this conversation, which is actually very dear to my heart as well. So this is the question: am I too black? Am I too dark? It's a question that I used to ask myself lots back in the day. Well, if you've met me in person, you'd understand why. And the light versus dark skin issue continues to spark debate. But a new film, No Shade, it touches on the prejudice or discrimination felt by people with a dark skin tone, typically among people of the same ethnic or racial group. And here's a clip from No Shade, a new film which explores this issue.
Oh, it's nice to meet you. I'm sorry, something wrong?
No, nothing. Wow. It's just that in your pictures you look mad different.
Is it? I'm like different, taller because I'm wearing flats.
No. More lighter.
Sorry, can you say that again?
No big deal, man. I guess you must have put a filter on your picture.
Unbelievable, right? Let's talk about this with the director and writer of No Shade, Claire Enyam Osigwe, and the actors Adele Oni and Kadim Pierce. Many thanks for joining us on the program.
Thank you very much.
Hassan Aruni, editor for Focus on Africa Today. First of all, Claire, you wrote and directed No Shade.
Sure.
Colorism is a pretty political issue, isn't it?
It is. It's a social, political issue. It's an issue of human rights. It's an issue of misogynoir, which is the mistreatment of black women. Unfortunately, with the issue of colorism, that means the mistreatment of black women by black men. So it's very disappointing. But I think
sort of black on black crime.
It is. It is almost a hate crime. To be mistreated for something that you cannot do anything about, your birthright, to be the shade that your parents created you to be.
What inspired it?
It inspired a true story that I was travelling on the bus 38 in Hackney, and a friend of mine, she called me to say that a mutual male friend regularly reaches out to her for sexual favours, but has said to her that she's too dark for him to marry or take into a long-term relationship. And I thought that's really sad because women look up to me as somebody who's married and married to a black man. I had clients as a dermatologist at Harley Street with my brand Prime, and women would come and lie on my table, have a facial and talk about, oh, how did you get Emmanuel, and how, this black love, it seems too far out of my reach. And I'd say, why? And they say, because people have told me I'm too dark. And I say, oh, this is just so heartbreaking for me because, everybody wants to be loved, so that's the premise of this romantic drama.
Let me bring Adele in, especially talking about your character, Jade, in No Shade. There's a scene where you put on foundation that is almost 10 shades lighter than your skin tone, and you're also wearing a blonde wig.
Yeah.
What were you trying to convey with that image?
To be honest, for me, I think it was just this understanding that Jade's character really just feels she's in this untenable position where she can't win, no matter what. She is trying to sort out her life, her career, but for some reason, love just never seems to fall into this balance of an equation.
Because she's being defined by her skin color.
Because she's being defined by her skin color. And she seems to constantly be berated with all these examples of black men preferring the lighter skinned woman, the mixed race woman, in their eyes, the more exotic woman. So she sees herself as unworthy. So it's about, finding the right colors to help make her seem like something that she is not. And I believe the white foundation especially, to an extent, it's obviously not the right skin tone for her. But I think for me, when I was actually filming that scene, my heart just went back to because I grew up in boarding school in Somerset, where I was surrounded by beautiful white blonde girls. And my head just went, what would it have been like if I had been born white?
So that becomes the image to which you aspire to.
Exactly.
That's where we bring in Kadim, because your character says that while growing up, he always assumed that the black man should find someone who is white or light. Do you think there's any truth to that statement?
Me personally, I don't think there's any truth to that statement. But my character Danny, he's a product of learned behaviour. So he's pretty much like a sponge and has absorbed the different views of his peers and also people that have set an example from the older generations. and this obviously derives from historical events such as colonialism, such as slavery, and it's been passed down. And he's seen these things and topics to be a trend and something that he's willing to follow if it makes him seem like he's being successful and following the same route that people have taken in order to express these views and put down people because of their skin color.
Hassan, in Sierra Leone, a shade of that conversation has been had?
Yes, this conversation is had, but it's a society. I come from a country, Sierra Leone, where all shades are treasured. But so often, the darker shades, you'll hear guys talking about their very dark skinned wives or girlfriends. Or in Black the Shine, her darkness, her black shines, it glitters.
So they're
And
talking about it with pride.
with pride, with love, and cherishing it.
That is wonderful.
And you have a situation where lighter guys often go for darker women, and the reverse. And there is not that discrimination. And in fact, often when some people use bleach on their skin, they are now described as having done wanshi, and it's a derogatory term for something that doesn't look nice. So dark shades, the black skin is actually cherished there.
And
So
see,
you
this
said,
is wonderful to learn of this, because I've always dreamed of that, in the sense of, I was born and bred in Britain, but I'm an Igbo girl, and I know that my mum's youngest sister, Auntie Vicky, she is Oyibo. That's what you call a white person, because she looks like an albino, born from the same stomach as my mum. So in Africa, you have so many multitude of shades and complexions
Indeed.
that are not pitted against each other. But when we come to the Western world of America and England, which are the sort of metropolises of the world, when we have adverts in Nigeria and they have fair and lovely, it's because they're pushing the white agenda. That the closer to white you are, the more successful you're going to
Let
be.
me just quickly bring this in, because we have very little time to go. But Beyonce's father,
Oh
Matthew
my God,
Knowles,
yeah.
recently said in an
Yes.
urban interview that the reason why she got roles and where she is today is because of her light skin tone. In 30 seconds, if you can, Adele, do you think you are typecast because of your own skin complexion?
I think my skin complexion means that I either have to make roles happen for myself or be very fortunate to know people like Claire who are writing something like this, because the unfortunate stereotype is I would not get roles until I was about 40 years old, being the black mother. I'm allowed to be dark skinned as a mother. I'm allowed to be the maid. So something like The Help, for example, is a story where, yes, that's fine, she can be in it. But to be the romantic female lead, suddenly that becomes, well, can we really sell that?
No area.
It's ridiculous. We go back to things like School Days, and that's, no.
Guys, it's been a pleasure talking to you, Claire, Adele, Kadim, and Hassan. Thank you very much.